From the School Choice Now newsroom at the American Federation for Children, I'm Brian Jodas, and on X at AFC Press. Today, I'm joined by Congressman Adrian Smith from Nebraska, specifically Nebraska's 3rd Congressional District, which, Congressman, kind of covers the entire state, right?
That's right. I have 80 counties in my district, so obviously very rural.
That's for sure. Representative Smith, a member of the House Committee on Ways and Means, and today our conversation is about education, school choice, and empowering more parents, families, and students across America. So, sir, good to have you today.
Well, great to be with you. I appreciate this opportunity to have a good conversation.
Yeah, excited to do it, and we've had some great conversations so far. I'm sure today will be just like that. Congressman Smith, I want to talk about this idea that President Trump calls sending education back to the states, which you're a supporter of as well, and believe we can get done through the Educational Choice for Children Act. You are the lead sponsor in the House. We'll discuss that a little bit more, but I kind of wanted to just get to know you a little bit and hear a little bit about your educational journey.
Sure. Well, thank you. I grew up in a household of 2 public school educators, actually. And then I graduated with an education degree and worked in public education for about 4 years. My first year out of college, I substitute taught. Great experience. I got to see a lot of different schools, different methods, different approaches. Mm-hmm. Then I went into helping support a staff development program at a regional agency, education agency. In Nebraska, we call them educational service units. Great experience, a great perspective to see what all takes place to hopefully stay ahead of the curve, if you will, for keeping teachers updated and informed and really empower them to do effective work.
That really is incredible perspective. And, you know, I've been in this movement a long time. You've been around it. There becomes this sort of natural dialogue about one versus the other. But what you're saying is that, look, we can articulate and support and strengthen those community traditional public schools, and we can explore what these alternative options look like.
Right. And I think, you know, our education system needs the support of families and the community ultimately. And, you know, I feel like families and the community have been, you know, pushed away from so many scenarios in our education funding and curriculum. And so, you know, we need to empower families, you know, who know the most about the students themselves and what they need, and be able to leverage even more support. And I think, you know, my bill leverages more support across the country from individuals and other entities so that we can really see, you know, better outcomes. So we should all be concerned about the outcomes of the education system, you know, the establishment education system of late.
Yeah, well said. He's Congressman Adrian Smith from Nebraska. You're a member of the House Committee on, the House Ways and Means Committee. Lead sponsor, Educational Choice for Children Act, which you just talked about. Last time around, I think had the most school choice sponsors in the history of a bill. This time around, nearly 100 have signed on, and we've been really actively working to help recruit more. I know you are as well. And does sort of this rather simple yet brilliant approach to amending the tax code that would supercharge school choice across America through tax incentives for corporations and individuals to fund these scholarship granting organizations, and then provide scholarships to students in every state in the form of a $10 billion tax credit. And we're talking about like 8 years of work from the School Choice Advocacy Committee, and then the potential really to impact 2 million kids across America. So just tell us a little bit more about it and why throw much support and be a lead sponsor on it as well.
Sure. Well, the tax credit that would ultimately provide some resources for scholarship granting organizations, they're innovators, and they are ones who are held accountable ultimately, so that the numbers can show that we're making progress, and that process, I think, is especially helpful. You know, it's not just the government providing what they think is best for kids. This is really about empowerment and accountability along the way so that we can ultimately see better results.
We're seeing more talk about this movement, and it is a breath of fresh air to have a president sit in the Oval Office and talk about believing strongly in school choice and sending education back to the states. We're just believers. This is the way to do that this year, and we can get that done this year, but it takes some work. Takes some work from members of Congress, takes some coordination between the House and the Senate. So where do we sit right now as it relates to the Educational Choice for Children Act? What can folks expect? How can they help you get this thing done?
Sure. Well, late last year, we marked up the bill in committee. It's the first school choice bill out of committee in the history of our country. And I'm proud to lead the way. Right now, we are trying to fit it into the reconciliation bill. We're dealing with a lot of tax policy. This is ultimately a tax bill. And so we have a lot of support. I think we even have some support, quiet as it might be, from folks on the other side who realize that the results we're getting with the current approach without this type of funding, we should all be concerned, especially kids who do not have access to a quality education. It shouldn't be based, as they say, on a zip code. This should really be based on outcomes and empowerment of families, ultimately communities, but through families themselves.
Yeah. For those folks on the other side of the aisle that really do believe in this sort of quietly, but feel concerned about voicing it publicly,
Right.
Take a moment of courage and step away from sort of being beholden to the wants and needs of the teachers unions and the big education establishment, and think about the end user.
That's
This
right.
is ultimately a move, Congressman, to ensuring the end user students are the main folks in education.
Right. Well, the students themselves, when I get to hear from students who have been positively impacted by state level funding such as this, man, it's compelling, and we want to see more of that. Let's do what we can. Ultimately, right now, the funding formulas across America for public education, they're politically oriented. That's, the groups go to the legislatures and they lobby the legislature for a certain type of funding and certain structure. And what we're saying is let's let families decide. Let's ultimately, elected officials are demanding accountability for things like this. That's fair. Of course, we would want to make sure the accountability on funding applies across the board too. So I appreciate the innovative approach that we are seeing with these scholarship granting organizations. Sometimes they look at homeschooling. That's great. Sometimes it's special needs. The variety of the scholarship granting organizations, I think, speaks very well to meeting the needs of students, meeting the needs of families, and ultimately taxpayers seeing more done with the hard-earned money that they pay.
Outstanding. He's Congressman Adrian Smith from the great state of Nebraska. There is a path to supercharge school choice across America. It's called the Educational Choice for Children Act, of which he is the lead sponsor, and we'll be watching it very closely. Congressman, thanks for your time today.
Thank you.
As always, like and share this episode. Send it to your friends and family. It really does help us reach more people with this important message. I'm Brian Jodas. Please give me a follow on X at AFC Press, and we'll see you next time from the American Federation for Children newsroom.